Welcome back, everyone, to the SlabStox podcast. My name is Aaron, your host for today's This Week in Sports Cards. And before getting into the video, I just want to apologize for the issues with the pre-registration for SlabStox platform that is coming out this summer, where you can track your investments, all the different analytics, and even buy and sell, and then also have your own portfolio all for free, all connected to eBay. So there is plenty of supply and plenty of demand. There has been a little issue with the sign up, a little technical glitches, but it is back up and running. So if you head over to slabstox.com/slabstox, you will be able to pre-register now for the new platform that is coming this summer. Make sure you go and secure your spot now so you're the first to know when it's going live through our email newsletter. And then, I hope you guys join. There's also a Zion Prizm 9.5 giveaway going on right now through next week in relation to pre-registration. So you're automatically entered to win that if you do go and sign up at slabstox.com/slabstox. For This Week in Sports Cards Volume 9, we had a lot to talk about. On Monday, we have the 2012 Prizm Basketball Hobby Box. We did not do a single card on this day. We went with the Hobby Box, and for good reason. If you guys see this, for many years, this box was just pretty stagnant in value. Started in 2012, the first year of Prizm Basketball ever. The retail boxes and the hobby boxes, the retail boxes only had green parallels. The hobby had silver and then gold out of 10. So these boxes were there's not many boxes produced because of the low amount of parallels. So the hobby boxes obviously are very scarce. And as we just see here, this is a long run chart going from December of 2012 to June of 2020. This was as low as $80 to start and is up to over $4,200 now. The very last sale was a $4,200 auction. On this chart, it shows a $4,800 buy it now sale, but since the chart was made and posted on Instagram on Monday, there was a $4,200 auction for a single hobby box. Now, that's a over 5,000% ROI, which is huge. The supply on eBay is super low. I mean, there's like one box on Buy It Now or Best Offer listed at $5,400, and then there's also a sealed case on eBay, and the sealed case is 12 hobby boxes. And that's up for $54,000 for best offer, which is crazy. So we had to pose the question, where do these boxes end up in 5 years? And here's a comment from Detroit Tackett. He says, "It won't stop. The potential for a Kobe or LeBron gold will keep interest high, or any of the great rookies from that class for the matter. 2012 didn't have 200 variations like today, only silver, gold, and green, so these cards are a big deal. Trying to get my green Kobe USA back that I sold. It was slabbed at 9.52. Regrets." 2012 Prizm Basketball is the 1986 Fleer of this generation. This is the set that Panini first produced for a chrome-like card, really picking up on that Topps Chrome lineage that ended in 2009 for Topps when they lost their basketball license. So Panini had to pick that up. And man, I mean, they have done a wonderful job with the Prizm line since then. Of course, those first couple years of Prizm are definitely the most valuable Prizm basketball out there. The singles from it, the boxes, all that stuff. But, Prizm has really built on each other as it's gone along. And I see no way that these boxes don't go up in value in the future. I mean, there will not be more of these to ever hit the market than what's already made. Of course, maybe some people listed, like 5 people at one time. But what I mean is no more supply will be entered into the circulation of these boxes. What there's out now is what there is. And even it might decrease over time as people open these boxes. So this is definitely a hold. No question on these boxes. If you have them, they're super rare and an absolutely incredible basketball investment piece and collection piece as we see today. Moving on to Tuesday, I wanted to do another long run chart here. With no sports going on right now, we're trying to cover a bunch of different trends, comparisons, boxes, high end, long run investments here, short run even. So there's a lot of different stuff going on with no sports. We don't just want to solely base on the same exact players, Prizm base or Topps Chrome base is going up every single day. I want to try, bounce around here and there. So with this one, we went for the Mike Trout 2011 Topps Update Gold, rookie number 2011. So this card is absolutely unreal as well. So the gold is an extremely tough grade. So PSA 9 in this card is a huge grade. PSA 10 is insanely scarce, but PSA 9 in this card, huge grade. Since 2015, there's been only 42 auctions to sell this card. And this is an absolutely crazy part. I cannot believe this, what I'm about to tell you, is that in 2015, when the first sale point was on this chart, that was January 13th, 2015, $72 was the amount that this card was worth. He was already a 3-time All-Star. He just came off of his first MVP. He already was a Rookie of the Year winner before this, and it's only $72 for a Topps Update Gold of 2011 PSA 9 in 2015. This is not 2011 or 2012 or 2013, but 2015. And now the most recent sale is $4,152 on June 14th, 2020. So absolutely unreal gains here for Mike Trout. Let's go to the comments. Madtown Cards says, I think a shortened season can either help or hurt a player's specific card. A shortened season allows a player to have a hot streak with not much time for cooling down, but a longer season allows a player that starts off cold to potentially heat up over 162 games rather than 60 games. In my unprofessional opinion, they both could have good and bad causes. And I said this is a perfect response. And he's saying he's hoping that more baseball hot listings come along the way as the baseball season happens. So I should preface this with saying that I posed a question on the Instagram post that said, how do you think 60 games will affect baseball cards in the market for it? So this was a response to that question. And I have to agree here. Nate brings up a lot in the live streams and his podcasts and such that this shortened season is going to be wild. I mean, we'll see guys get hot and stay hot for that long that normally would cool down after All-Star break. We'll see guys that are supposed to, be really good, have cold starts, and maybe they don't even do well at all. So it's going to be extremely interesting and very, very interesting to see. So it'll be fun, but know that there is some risk because a player can start cold and then tank the values, and maybe they don't even have enough time to make it up. So that's pretty much where I'm at with baseball. As of right now, it's a risk, but there could be a huge reward if your player goes off. Young players should gain value. Leading up to the season on July 24th, now that they announced that they are coming back, the MLB announced that the Players Association signed a deal July 1st, I want to say, is when they report to camp, and then July 24th is when the season actually starts. Moving on to Wednesday, we have a Prizm versus Optic comparison here of the 2018 Luka Doncic cards. The Optic PSA 10 versus the Prizm PSA 10. And I wanted to graph these against each other because last week we looked at the Select for Jason Tatum, the Prizm Silver, and the Select Silver. So I wanted to do some type of comparison between Optic and Prizm. So looking here, there is clearly, gain for both of these, but they're basically the exact same. Optic went up 24%, Prizm went up 23%, and I can tell you down to the decimal point, it's more within 0.5. I think Prizm was 23 and Optic was like 23.57, but rounded up there. So very, very close, very, very close. And in my opinion, actually it's not even just my opinion, it's more of a statistical measure here, is that looking at these two, Prizm by far is more popular. There's 122 sales volume since the start of June. There was 37 for Optic. And if you look at the PSA population report, there's 11,000 Prizm PSA 10s versus only 1,825 Optic rookie PSA 10s of Luka. The only thing that's keeping the Optic PSA 10, looking at it in terms of growth here, return on investment, close to the Prizm, or even a little bit above in this case, is that it is more scarce and it can gain value just as fast as Prizm because of that. Clearly, the demand is way higher for Prizm because of the amount in the market. The supply, the values are not, even more astronomical. If you've got like a Giannis that there's only, close to 2,000 probably PSA 10s out there. LeBron, 2,000 Topps Chrome PSA 10s. There's 11,297 Prizm PSA 10 Lukas. For a comment here from GNK Sports Cards, I swear they're popping up in every video, but always good analysis, so really want to include them. He says, I think the Optic still has a lot more room to grow. The Prizm has already surpassed its March high by about 20%, while the Optic is still below its own March high. I really like that take here because this post was only about June. We were looking at just the growth in June, but moving back all the way to March when they hit peaks around March 7th, March 8th, 9th, he's pointing out the fact that Prizm has surpassed that value while Optic has not yet. So maybe there still is some more room to grow to reach that top end value and then even go above of it. So he's saying that the Prizm is 20% above what it peaked at back in March, but Optic hasn't even reached that yet. Might be a good time to jump in there if the circumstances work out. Now, in my personal opinion, I'm not a huge fan of these Optic base cards as much. Prizm I can understand. Optic, it starts to get into like the, not the top set, and then you're going to base cards like Optic Hollows and Numbered and all that stuff is great. Base cards just doesn't get me as excited in Optic as it does Prizm. But clearly the population report is playing an effect here, keeping the value high on Optic, return on investment high. And as GNK Sports Card pointed out, there's very well might be a good opportunity to make a little bit of margin there going into the season on the Optic Luka PSA 10. Moving on to Thursday, we got another comparison for this week. We have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Prizm base rookie PSA 10 to the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander rookie auto PSA 10. And really, I did this one because someone requested for it once they saw the Prizm versus Optic. They said, oh, what about Prizm versus Prizm rookie auto? So here we are. And what we're looking at here is since the start of March, the Prizm base rookie PSA 10 has increased in value by 138%. But looking at the Prizm rookie auto, it's only increased in value by 67%. So there had to be more research done to figure out what was going on here. So dug into the PSA population report, and there's only 552 PSA 10s of the base Shai rookie card out of a total of 1,168, and that's 46% graded. Looking at the Prizm rookie auto PSA 10, there's 98 PSA 10s of 123 graded, and that's 80%. So clearly there's a huge discrepancy here in the grading of these two cards. The Shai base, very tough grade. I know a lot were off-centered. And then for the rookie auto, there were 80% PSA 10s. Now, this is not a trend that applies to every single player, and I really want to point this out in the post that trends do not apply to everyone in every set the same exact way. Looking at the Luka from this set, we just talked about it. There's 11,000 something, Prizm-based rookie PSA 10s of 16,879 graded. And then if you look at the rookie autos, there's only 139 Prizm rookie auto PSA 10s out of 189 graded, which is 74%. The base rookie PSA 10 for Luka is 67%. So there are so many more Luka Prizm PSA 10 base cards than Shai. So many more. That plays into the fact that the Prizm rookie auto PSA 10 of Luka has outpaced the base PSA 10 since in the month of June. Luka Prizm rookie auto PSA 10 has gained 37% in value, while the base rookie PSA 10 of Luka has gained 23% in value. So it's pretty much the inverse of what we're seeing with Shai, and makes sense. Way higher supply of the base PSA 10 for Luka than Shai, and then the supply of the rookie autos for both are around the same. So it totally makes sense why. Make sure you guys do research to make sure that you know which trends apply to which players in which sets. It really matters. And then a comment here from Nice Looking Cardboard that said, a genuine nugget of gold from subjectively analyzing the data in more detail rather than tell the story that you want to tell. Great work at SlabStox. And I just want to point that out, that I really appreciate that comment. Definitely want to show both sides of the coin here for the Prizm-based PSA 10, for the Prizm rookie auto, to make sure that people know that this doesn't apply to everything. You definitely have to do more research for each player and dig in to really see. We can't just go look at Shai and say, okay, base PSA 10, always go base PSA 10. Can't just look at Luka and go auto PSA 10, always go auto PSA 10. It has to be a mix of both, and you have to understand what the intricacies are that we're really dealing with here. So I think that was a very insightful post. I hope you guys took a lot from that you guys can use to research different sets, different players, different trends, and try to make overall opinion on what's going on rather than looking at one and just thinking that's what happens all the time. For Friday here, want to mix in a hot listing for baseball. Shout out to Madtown Sports Cards. Really want to get one in there for you. And we have the Gleyber Torres 2018 Topps Update Rookie PSA 10. This card, since the start of April, has really been on a crazy ride here. So, looking at like $65 at the start of April, goes all the way up to $120 as the market is increasing. And then we got some news that baseball might not happen. And we're like going down, then going back up, then going down and back up. And then it went all the way down again to around $90-ish, I want to say. And now is back up to around 105. It did come back up to 120 and then dropped again. So clearly it's like, is there baseball? Is there not baseball? Is there baseball? Is there not? And then it goes up and down and up and down. And now who really knows what's happening? But baseball should be back. There's a buy it now that sold for $120 on Friday after the auction of 105 or 110 on Thursday night. So I'm assuming that the next auctions will start to hit 120 and maybe even more as we inch towards the season. I had a comment here to share from Jason WTTW that said, I'm sure a Juan Soto post is coming next from you guys, but he has a PSA 10 card that is only a bit higher, 135 to 150, and he's a better player coming off a World Series win, and he has a great strong 2 seasons so far. Can't go wrong with Glaber and Soto. I definitely agree here. I love Juan Soto. Nate loves Juan Soto. We've loved Juan Soto for a couple years now with the Bowman Chrome autos we had in the past, and very excited to hear someone supporting Juan Soto and his card in relation to Gleyber Torres, because we've always been in the camp that if you're going to go spend money on the two, you're going to Soto. So it's nice to see others with the same opinion. I will say that Soto compared to Torres would go Soto for sure if you're making the choice. Lastly here, we have with the MLB announcing a season will be played, are you jumping into baseball cards? This was the question of the week that we're selecting for this week, and just really want to get some baseball in here because it's been a while since we brought up baseball because so much basketball demands coming right now, but really want to do it for the baseball fans. And Cagno Sports Cards comments, with 60 games being played, it'll be a full-on sprint. The championship will be completely up for grabs to any team that's hot during that stretch. Baseball cards will continue to climb, especially all the young studs like Tatis, Acuna, Soto, and more. And then I said, yeah, it'll be crazy. Then another Gramps Cards here says, never stopped. I believe they are a long-term investment rather than a flip. Bellinger, Tatis, and Soto are going to be great long-term holds in my eyes. And yeah, for sure, while the baseball cards aren't reacting the same as basketball today, who knows what we're looking at when there's a hot season and people are going crazy. We haven't really seen that yet with the new market dynamics. So keep in mind, if you have baseball, don't get really, cold feet and then sell some. Definitely, wait and stick with your gut if you are a huge baseball fan and think that baseball will play out well, because it very well could. I mean, basketball is dominating. Basketball is doing very well. I've even came on and said that basketball, rather put your money there than baseball, but there is a lot of upside baseball as well. So basically, that's what we got going on this week in the sports card market. If you guys want to go and pre-register for SlabStox, the new platform coming out, it is now available to pre-register for. It's coming live this summer. SlabStox.com/SlabStox. Make sure you guys get in there for the Zion Prizm Rookie BGS 9.5 giveaway. And hope to see you guys on the platform in summer. And we'll see you guys next week for Volume 10.